Hello, hello. So, we are going to learn today about um, is there a better way to organize the elements on the periodic table? Okay. And our learning target is to determine the physical and chemical properties of various elements and recognize and classify the elements based on those properties. So, when I say chemical properties, I mean the reactivity, which is our valence electrons, how reactive they are, or if they're stable. And when I say physical properties, you're going to hear words like luster and color and malleability and conductor and all that. So, um, that's the difference between the two. Okay. So I updated your notes. There's a second Google Slides in your notes. It says for what is a metal, August 24th to 28th. Those are the notes that you will use for this week that will help you. Okay. So let's go back to the periodic table. That is what we use in chemistry. Okay, the periodic table is your best friend. Um, Remember, our group number tells us our valence electrons. If we look at 6A in group 16s, the 6 is going to tell us that this group has 6 valence electrons. Okay, elements in that group all have the same number of valence electrons. They have similar chemical and physical properties. Okay. Um, our period, remember our period number, the ones that go this way, right to left, our rows tell us our energy level. So period 1 has 1 energy level, period 2 has 2, and so on, okay? Elements in the same period have the same energy level. So if you see potassium, calcium, titanium, they're all going to have 4 energy levels, okay? So this is our periodic table. Yesterday, I had you label your periodic table. It's helpful, okay? The reason why I make you label it is because you can just go to that and it'll help you. It has our 8-man on it. It has our groups. It tells us that groups tell us reactivity and it tells us our valence electrons, okay? We have our group 1, which is our most reactive metals. We have group 17, which is our most reactive nonmetals. Those words, metals and nonmetals, we're about to get into today, okay? And then group 18 are our stable elements. Those are the ones that are happy. Our noble gases, they have 8 valence electrons. They have a full shell. They are happy campers, okay? Um, and then our periods tell us our energy levels. So remember yesterday I said don't worry about the ones down here that say metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So don't do step 4, okay? Well, today we're going to learn about metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. In 6th grade, you were introduced to where they were at on the periodic table, okay? Now we're going to learn more about them and their properties. This is what we call physical properties of elements. If it's a metal, a nonmetal, a metalloid, and there are a few things that tell us if how we can classify if elements are either 3 of these. So metals, nonmetals, or metalloids, okay? Um, so, properties of metals. Metals, they're on the left side of the periodic table. All right, left side of the periodic table. So they are right here, okay? The left side. Whoops. Um, notice, notice that hydrogen is on the left, but hydrogen is not a metal, okay? Hydrogen is a non-metal, all right? So metals are going to be shiny. They're shiny. Think of uh, think of aluminum. Think of gold. Gold is shiny. Nickel is shiny. Silver is shiny. Okay, those are our metals. Metals are also malleable. When you hear the word malleable, think of they bend and they don't break. Okay, we can bend. Like aluminum foil. We can bend that. Okay, that's a metal. We can bend it and it won't break. Okay. When we make rings, like my ring, this is a metal. You see how it can bend into a shape of a ring? It wasn't always the shape, okay? Think of that. These are metals, so we can bend metals, okay? They're also really good conductors of electricity and heat, okay? They're good conductors of electricity and heat. So if you look at this picture over here, see this has a really bright light because it's a really good metals are really good conductors of heat of electricity, okay? And heat, all right? Um, they also react with acids, so that they're going to give off electrons in a chemical reaction. And they can be magnetic, okay? And some examples are aluminum, gold, copper, and nickel. Okay. The three properties that I really, really want you to focus on are these right here, these three. So that is, they're shiny or have luster. Luster is another word for shiny, okay? Luster is another word for shiny. They're malleable. They bend without breaking. Think of my ring. Think of aluminum foil, okay? We can bend these things. They're not going to break, all right? They're good conductors of electricity and heat, all right? If you ever touch like a car is made of metal. That's why when the sun is beating down on the hood of a car and you feel it and it's hot, it's because it's a metal. It's a good conductor of heat. It's going to hold that heat in, okay? Those are the three that I really want you to focus on, right? But them reacting with acids and giving off electrons in a chemical reaction, them being magnetic, those are important too, okay? But for the purposes of this, focus on the three at the top that I have up here, okay? So those are metals, all right? They're on the left side of the periodic table. And most of the elements, as you can tell, most of them are considered metals, all right? We have a ton of metals, okay? A ton of them. Now we're going to go to our metalloids. Metalloids have properties of metals and non-metals, okay? Metals and non-metals, okay? So I want you to keep this in mind. I'm going to show you non-metals, and then we're going to come back to metalloids. I just wanted you to know that we have three. One of the types of elements is a metalloid, and they can have properties of both metals and non-metals, okay? So we're going to talk about nonmetals first. So nonmetals are on the right side of the periodic table, okay? Remember, hydrogen is a nonmetal. Yes, it's on the left side, but it is a nonmetal. So always remember our little friend hydrogen that's just chilling by the metals, okay? It's over there because, remember, it has one valence electron. It's really reactive. Remember my example with the hydrogen bombs in the war, okay? Because it's really, really reactive. So remember, group 18 are our noble gases. Group 17, the ones with 7 valence electrons that are our most reactive nonmetals that we talked about yesterday, we can also call them our halogens, okay? So they're on the right side. Nonmetals are dull, or another word for dull could be matte, you know? For some ladies, or if you prefer, like, you get foundation or you get like a matte lipstick, it's dull. It doesn't have any shine to it, you know? That's what we mean by dull or matte, okay? They're brittle. They break very, very easily, okay? Very easily. And then think of like one of those like a granola bar or something. You know how they just crumble? That would be a non-metal, okay? They're going to break super easily. And then they're insulators. They don't conduct electricity at all or heat. So you notice down here, there's no light coming from that green light, unlike there was with our metals, okay? There's nothing because they are insulators. Think of I don't know if I've ever seen it, but there's like this yellow stuff that's in houses. It's insulation, okay? Think of that, insulators. They're not going to conduct heat or electricity, okay? They also don't react with acid, so they're going to steal electrons, and they are never magnetic. You think of oxygen and carbon, okay? We breathe in oxygen, okay? That's not magnetic, all right? So some examples are nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, and chlorine. So remember, the three ones I want you to focus on: dull or matte, okay? They have no shine to them whatsoever. They are brittle. They are going to break, and they are insulators of electricity. They do not conduct electricity or heat. Nothing, okay? Absolutely nothing. Now we can go to our metalloids. Remember, metalloids are going to have properties of both metals and nonmetals, okay? Metalloids are going to be on the staircase. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there is a very dark line on your periodic table, okay? It's a dark, jagged line. I call it the staircase because it looks like a staircase, okay? All the elements that are touching that staircase are metalloids, with the exception of aluminum. Aluminum touches the staircase, but it is not a metalloid, okay? It is a metal. Think of aluminum foil. It is shiny, okay? It's a metal. Aluminum is a metal. And it bends. It's malleable, okay? It might be touching the staircase, but always remember, aluminum is not a metalloid, okay? It is a metal. So all the elements touching the staircase, boron, silicone, arsenic, all those are all metalloids, okay? So metalloids, they are shiny or have luster like metals, okay? So remember I said they have properties of metals and nonmetals. So one of the properties that metalloids has is it's shiny or it has luster like metals, okay? But they are brittle like nonmetals, okay? They are brittle. So they are going to break. They are going to break, okay? They're very brittle. And they are semiconductors. So they kind of conduct electricity well. Some do, some don't. Like it just depends on what it is. So if you notice here, the light is green, you can see, but it's not as bright as a metal, okay? But there is some light, unlike our nonmetals where there is no light at all, okay? So they are semiconductors. They kind of conduct electricity well, okay? So some examples are boron, silicone, and arsenic, all right? So these are the three physical these are the three main types of elements that can be on the periodic table, okay? So we have metals on the left side, metalloids on our staircase, and nonmetals on the right side, okay? And remember, don't forget about little hydrogen that's sitting on the left side of the periodic table. He is a nonmetal, okay? So, with that being said, you have a periodic table, all right? We're going to get to this whenever I return your periodic tables to you. You can fill this, you'll be able to fill this out and then return it back to me, okay? We will do that sometime later in the week, so don't worry about that right now. But your assignment for today is going to be you're going to need your periodic table one. Your periodic table, the labeled one, okay? Your best friend. Your assignment today, if you have any questions, it's going to be in the Wednesday work, okay? So you'll see it underneath this lesson video. And that's it. It's a Google slide and you have a couple of questions to answer. Make sure you use your periodic table. It is your best friend, all right? If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me or call me, okay? I am here. So we're going over metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. Remember to use your periodic table, okay? Remember that metalloids have properties of metals and nonmetals, okay? Let's see. And I think that's it. So you can always refer back to this video. You can also refer to your chemistry notes that I told you about in the beginning of the video, okay? Those are your best friend too. Those chemistry notes are your periodic table, and you are set, all right? If you have any questions, let me know. I am here for you, okay? Please get missing work turned in, okay? Y'all have a wonderful day, and get your work done. Let me know if you need help, okay?